Episode 5, Team Protege. I'm excited to break down this tight end's film. It is the first college tight end, first college applicant, John Bates. He wrote a letter to his girlfriend saying how much she means to him. So excited to break down his film. Thank you for doing the act of service, John. John's going into his 5th year at Boise State. He's been on the Mackey preseason award list the past 3 years, including this one coming up. So hopefully he's able to take it home, unlike I was not able to in college. Still a little salty about it, but maybe one day I'll get over it. But excited to break down John's film. He's a tight end in Boise State. Like I said, he's a great blocking tight end. He's a true Y again. We spoke about this previously, the difference between a Y tight end and kind of that move tight end. John's going to be in a 3-point stand next to the tackle frequently. He's great in the run game. He adds stuff in the pass game. Think we can improve upon there. So really excited to break down the film with you guys. So in this clip, we're going to be talking about the backside of inside zone. And so John's responsibility on this play, he's on the right at tight end. He's off the ball. He's going to be working with the offensive tackle. They're going to be working that defensive end in front of them to the linebacker, number 31. 31 is kind of inside the tackle right here. He's off the ball. We call that the right bump per se. So if you don't really know the number of the linebacker you're talking about, you can always call it the right bump or the left bump. But in this picture, John and the tackle are going to be working the defensive end to the right bump. And so John does a great job. They're both patient. They can't be too eager because they don't know exactly who's going to come off on the linebacker and who's going to have to stay on the D end. And so they do a great job being hip to hip, patient, and then John just does a great job finishing this defensive end and really straining his feet and allowing the running back to be able to run the ball right behind him. And typically, if the tight end's able to get his job done on the backside of inside zone, this is where the ball is going to hit. The running back's going to have a one-on-one with the extra defender, which is typically a linebacker, and that's why they have to do what they do. But overall, this is a great job by John. Great hand placement. You see John in his hands here. They're inside, they're tight. You can barely see, you can't even see his elbows when he makes contact. And so overall, this is a great example of the backside of inside zone, working with the tackle. Both of you guys coming together, hip to hip, displacing the defensive end, and then the tackle coming up on the linebacker and allowing the running back to run the ball right behind you. So overall, great job on the backside of inside. On this clip, we're going to be talking about the backside of outside zone. And so John is going to be on the left. The ball is going to be going wide to the right. And so on this clip as a tight end, oftentimes you're responsible for 2 people. You're responsible for the D end that's on the ball right here to the left outside of John, and the safety that's coming down, number 4. And so we're only one person, so how could we be asked to block 2 people? And this is where you got to rely on your keys. And so you see the D end, he's in a staggered stance, but his weight are on his heels. He doesn't have the demeanor where he's going to be jetting upfield, ready to chase down the running back. Whereas the safety, he's kind of been a little more aggressive. He's on the balls of his feet. And so on this one, when in doubt, it's best to take one step at the defensive end. Give him just your left arm. Don't engage your right arm, because if you engage your right arm, your shoulders are going to turn, and it's going to be harder for you to get up on the safety. So just jab him with your left arm and then take a proper angle. You want to meet him at the intersection of where you think he's going to be. You can't take your angle to where the safety is. You got to take it to where he's going to be. And so on this play, John, do a great job stabbing him, but I would just say if you could be a little quicker getting off on the block on number 4 up to the safety, it would be perfect. And if the safety were to get even any tighter, you might have to abort your kind of jab on the defensive end and go right to number 4, because he's the most dangerous man. He's the MDM. And so overall, I think this is a great learning clip on the backside of outside zone. Previously, we just talked about the backside of inside zone. Now we're going to be on the front side of inside zone. And some of the episodes in the past, using Jack Injury's film, we talked about outside zone, where we're trying to get our inside shoulder on the defensive end's outside armpit. Well, this is not the case for the front side of inside zone. On the front side of inside zone, you want both of your feet working together at a 45-degree angle, displacing the linebacker or defensive end that is off of your body. And so we're going to watch this clip. John does an outstanding job getting his feet in the ground, playing with great hand placement. Hand placement is so key and it's so underrated blocking. If you're not able to get your hands inside, it's going to be a really tough time blocking. And so we're going to watch this play. John's on the right, and he's going to be working against this outside linebacker, number 9, I believe. And John just does a great job coming off, staying low, playing with the base, and then using a strong inside hand. This play goes because of his block and the offensive tackle's block. It doesn't matter what anyone else does on this play because John and the tackle do such a great job. John engages this outside linebacker, plays strong, displaces him, and then throws him out with a strong inside hand. And finishing with the strong inside hand is key so that defensive player cannot play over the top and tackle the running back for a 3 or 4 yard gain. But that's what separates a 3 or 4 yard gain from a touchdown, is just playing with this strong inside hand and finishing the block. And so this is a great play of inside zone, the ball coming to us, and it really is teach tape of a finish, and that's what is able to result when we play with great technique. We're going to talk about seam route. In a seam route, the goal is to get width, especially against middle field close coverage. What do I mean by middle field close coverage? There's only one safety in the middle of the field. If it was middle field open coverage, there would be 2 safeties up top, whereas this is just one safety up top, so we call it middle field close coverage. So when running a seam route, we got to get our width. Both slot receivers, the tight end in this picture and the slot receiver at the bottom, have got to get their width. And so the tight end's landmark in college is 2 yards inside the numbers, and the slot receiver's on the bottom, his landmark is about 2 yards inside the numbers. And obviously you got to listen to what your coaches are telling you, but in my experience, these are the best landmarks. And so John, it's tough because the safety's playing at depth. He's playing 10 yards off the ball, but we got to threaten him early with width. And so here we kind of just run straight up the field. And so the safety never moves laterally. And so in my opinion, we should get to our landmark as soon as possible and make him take a shuffle step outside. And if he doesn't take a shuffle step outside, you're gonna have to go around him possibly. But if we catch the ball on the hash here, we are setting us up for failure. We're setting us up for the quarterback to make a really tough throw and possibly, like we saw on Jack Endry's film with me, possibly have to go to the hospital because we're running into the safety. And we don't want that for you. We don't want that for your parents. So we need to get our width and keep our width so the quarterback has a great surface area to throw the ball to. We're going to see in the back view that you just kind of avoid the defensive end, which you have to because he's standing up, and get vertical right now. And there's not a lot of sell with the width. And on this play, we get away with it. Obviously, great catch, great big play for the team. But if we can get some more width, it's going to stress that safety out even more just in case he's able to play. But we don't want him to be able to play both. And so if we could just get some more width on this seam route, it's going to be a lot better. So we highlighted a seam of obviously John making a great play down the field for his team, but needing to get a little more width so we're not catching the ball on the hash and allowing the safety to make a play on us. This play right here, John, is teach tape of how to run a seam route. You're going to threaten the linebacker with speed, threaten him outside, make him overreact. You're going to slip him with great hands right there and get up the field. You're not drifting in. You kind of feel the corner, so you're maybe protecting the throw a little bit, which is money. But overall, this is great. You sell him right there with width. You use your hand. You do the swat and swipe with the left hand swat, the right arm swat and swim. Left hand swat, right arm swim. And so he doesn't slow you down on his reroute. And then you get vertical. There's no inside drift. We're not bringing the safety in the middle of the field into play. So overall, this is exactly how you should run your seam every time against middle field close. Let's watch from the back. Swat and swim, get vertical, stay wide, catch the ball, make a big play. Teach tape right there. These next 2 clips are going to be what we call a basic route. A basic is 10 yards vertical and then breaking inside. So if you're on the right side of the formation, it's going to be 10 yards vertical, break to the left. If you're going to be on the left side of the formation, it's going to be 10 yards vertical and break to the right. And so on this clip, on basics, you always have to expect man and react to zone. So what does that mean? On a basic, when it's man, you're always at the top of your route, you're running in. There's no kind of find the zone. There's no throttling in there. And so on this clip, we do a great job getting the 10 yards, but when we turn, it seems like we kind of lose our speed. And so if we're able to carry our speed in there, it's going to allow for a lot more separation against the defensive back instead of coming to a complete stop at the top of the break. And I know the linebacker is underneath you, so it's kind of tough. You don't know exactly where you should stop your route. But on this one, you field number 15 here, having you in man coverage. The presentation is zone. It's quarters, but quarters plays like man. And so on this one, John, we just got to be able to keep our speed throughout the route and run it in there so we're able to gain separation against this defensive back. So we're going to look at the second basic route by John, and John does a great job getting a vertical for 10 and running out of it, like we talked about in the previous one, what he needed to improve on. But on this one, I want to talk about a little bit about the break at the top. And so at a basic, you always want to be coming at a negative angle at the top. You want to be finding the zone if it's zone. You want to be coming at a negative angle if it's man, so the DB is not able to play through us. And so John does a great job running through 10 yards, a little bit of a chop, try to carry his speed, but then makes a great play. But how can we be better? See, John makes his break at around the 46-yard line, and he catches the ball around the 49-yard line. And so when we're running the top of this basic, we want to be flat at the top at the minimum or reducing. And so overall, John did a much better job breaking, staying on the move, running through it, but just reducing the top is that the next step. And obviously this is a great play. 15-yard completion. We're moving the chains for our offense, but it's how do we take the next step on all this stuff, John? And so that's what I would say on this basic route. When we're carrying our speed, you do a great job on this one, carrying our speed, but start reducing the top. So if it's zone, you're able to find that zone and come back to the quarterback. If it's man, we're protecting the throw. And so overall, great play, but let's just try and be a little better. So I want to give you a little bit of a framework for a basic route. And so I'm going to be at the top of the screen. I'm 3 yards inside the numbers here. I'm going to be running my basic. I'm on the 40. I got to get to the 30. And so I know it's man coverage, but this is the same break I would do if I knew it was zone and I had to run in here. This is an example of reducing at the top of the route, and this is an example of carrying your speed within the route and also bursting off the ball. So I'm going to be at the top, sprinting upfield, 10 yards, and breaking inside. And obviously, it doesn't matter that the ball doesn't go to me. Every time you step on the field, you should be putting wins on tape. That should be your mindset as a tight end receiver. Every time you step on the field, you want to put a win on tape. And so as a basic, you want to get 10 yards vertical, break down, and carry your speed against man and reduce the top. And so this is just an example of us running a basic against the Bears. And I don't know if you can see it from this angle, but sprinting down the field, carrying my speed into it, and reducing the top of the route. So this is just an example I want to bring to light for you, the mechanics of what a basic should look like. So we've talked a lot about a seam in general. We've talked a lot about speed down the field. And one of the things I want to talk about here, John, is you're going to see this clip. It is outstanding. You know, you catch a touchdown, 25-yard plus touchdown, and it is awesome. And one of the things that I've noticed watching your clips is when you decide to run, when you know exactly what you're doing, you are flying down the field. And so there are other times when you're kind of measuring your steps and whatnot, but as tight ends, we always want to play on the attack. So my challenge to you would be take this route here, ingrain it in your brain, and for every release that you do, every route stem you do should be this explosive off the ball, because this is you see how fast you run here for 10 yards. You run behind the defense, make a huge play for your team. But this is the speed that if you're able to play with consistently is going to allow you to have so much separation in the passing game, so much more explosive plays for your offense. And you can see it from behind. There's no wasted movements. We're running. We're getting to our landmark, and we are making a huge play for our football team. And so overall, I just want you to ingrain this. Play fast. Play on the attack. Don't measure your steps. As tight ends, we always want to play on the attack. If you're able to do this, I really think you can take your game, especially in the receiving game, to the next level. So there we have it. Episode 5, John Bates, tight end for Boise State. John, Doing a lot of great stuff, man. You're doing a lot of great stuff, especially in the run game, allowing your team to have a successful run game. Some of the things I think you could continually work on is on the backside of that outside zone, that mid zone away from you. Just being a little more deliberate in our actions. So we're getting up to that second level on the home run block. In the pass game, just keep working on that explosiveness out of your stance. Keep putting speed, keep threatening the DBs each and every time you take a route rep. I would challenge you with that in the passing game. Little details with the basics, carrying your speed, reducing the top seam, just being consistent. We've seen you do the seam route consistently well, and so just make sure against middle field close coverage, we're getting our width early so we're protecting the ball and our bodies. We saw Jack injuries where I got smoked against the Cowboys because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, getting my width early. So just continually grow. Thank you for being a part of our team. The first college tight end Mackey Award watch list. Everyone keep an eye out for my guy, John Bates out of Boise State.